Hi, I'm Parker Miley.
And I'm Tim Benjamin.
And this is the Rage Podcast, where today we're going to talk or take a look at a lighthearted situation compared to some of our other topics. Other things going on.
No raging today, so yes.
I guess it's more of an informative, let's look at some good things that go on.
Yeah, and because you watch the news today or scroll through your YouTube news feed, and you may get the impression that everything out there is bad. Not that we would blame you for that, because there's plenty that's going wrong. But today we want to talk about an organization that's doing some great stuff and trying to help out wherever they can. And that's a little organization that we United Methodists refer to as UMCOR.
So what does UMCOR stand for, Tim?
All right. UMCOR stands up for the United Methodist Committee on Relief. That's the acronym. And it basically is the United Methodist response to any kind of natural disaster. So they're in Haiti right now and in the southern part of the United States trying to do what they can to recover property and help people with clean water and those kinds of things. So they have those kind of short-term goals, but they got their hands in a lot of different things around the world.
I guess I don't want to make this like an interview format, but have you ever done anything? Have you worked as a pastor for the United Methodist Churches? Have you done anything specifically with UMCOR?
I have been involved in a couple of UMCOR projects and a couple of different levels, I guess we could say. When I was in New Orleans after the storm in 2007, the storm was 2005. I was in New Orleans in 2007, and UMCOR was there. I was not personally there with UMCOR. But we had a chance to interact with some UMCOR workers and some different people who were down there and see the kind of work that they do. I also actually interviewed for a position with UMCOR way back in the day about the possibility of working with UMCOR on a local level to deal with local disasters and things. Now, I'm not talking about things like Katrina. It would be like house fires and smaller, more community-oriented things like that.
No, if I may ask, so is that something that UMCOR does? If I'll just use this as an example and see if I'm on the right track.
Sure.
So, say there was, a local disaster. Okay?
A local disaster would have to be bigger than, I guess a single house fire. But if it would be something that would happen, like, say, a water main break, where the entire town, the size of, say, Cleveland, would be without water, UMCOR would be one of the forces that would go in to address that situation.
So would UMCOR not necessarily be in like a St. Mary's, or is it like a bigger city?
If there was something big here, like if a tornado came through and it was more than what our local resources and our surrounding resources could do, the responses that they offer would be bigger than a single house fire. Usually, again, as tragic as that is, I'm not trying to downplay it, but a single house fire, usually a community can help a family pick that back up. So UMCOR wouldn't really be needed for that. But if it was something where there were no resources, again, God forbid, a tornado came through and took out, Wayne Street Church, then UMCOR could possibly be here to help. Where Wayne Street would do it normally, we wouldn't have facilities to house people or anything because our facility's gone. And so UMCOR would address a situation like that.
And now is UMCOR, are those all volunteers that would come, or do they have
they would have paid staff that would coordinate the effort. So what you would do is if you would want to, say we're here, say there's a disaster in Akron, Ohio. Okay, UMCOR is going into Akron, Ohio, and we here at Wayne Street think we want to do something. There are two ways we go about doing that. The first way is we give to what's called an advanced special. So what we do is we would look up the number, because they're all assigned. Everything that UMCOR addresses has a number assigned to it. So you look up the number and say, okay, number, whatever it is. And then we as a church would say to our congregation or our mission team or however we're coming up with the funds and say, okay, there's a situation in Akron and they need funding. Okay? And so what we would do is we would give money to that line. Now the cool thing about UMCOR is all their administrative costs are covered by apportionments, which means if you give to Akron $10, $10 goes to Akron, okay? So 100% of everything you give goes to actual relief, buying supplies, that kind of stuff, paying the salaries and the administrative costs that it takes to, all that's covered by apportionment. So no giving specifically to UMCOR goes to that. That makes sense?
Yeah, but explain how they do make. So what do you mean? What do you mean when you say apportionment?
Okay, what the United Methodist Church does is they say, okay, here's how much it's going to cost to run our district. Here's how much it's going to cost to run our conference. Again, depending on locations and various things, those costs are different. And then they have an equation that is far more complicated than I can express to you, that they plug all the numbers into. But I know some of the factors are like our membership size and our annual budget and all that stuff goes into it. And they say, okay, so of the cost of running the conference, here's Wayne Street's portion of it. So we are apportioned to pay that part. Okay. And that takes care of, like conference staff and then on a larger scale, like UMCOR is a United Methodist, global organization. So we from the West Ohio Conference pay into that. It's complicated, but that's
it
how
takes
those
a part of the church money.
Correct.
The money that I guess you can say the church makes.
Right.
Part of it goes to the larger organization,
Correct.
and then it gets dispersed a million other different ways.
Right.
Once it gets
and most of it are mission/relief efforts.
Awesome.
Things like that. So
and now
go ahead.
Go no.
Go ahead. And then so what that does is it allows professionals to go in, be on the ground, and coordinate whatever effort there is. So that way, if I give, like I said, $10 to a disaster, that $10 is going to buy water. It's going to buy. It's going to buy what they need, but all that money will go into the supplies that the UMCOR doesn't have on hand.
Now, is this something? I guess now let's break it down in another sense, or go a different direction. How many churches, when I say churches, maybe denominations or groups out there like UMCOR exist?
Oh gosh.
I only hear, and it might just be because I'm a Methodist, I hear a lot of UMCOR and I hear a lot of Franklin Graham's Samaritan Purse. I hear a lot of them, but then I really don't hear a lot of other. But I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah.
But I think this is something interesting that we have.
Right. Well, the method. Again, and I'm not biased at all in what I'm about to say, but the United Methodist Church does a great job of looking situations over and deciding, on the street level, what do we need? What's going on in the street. Now, again, we're not perfect at it, but as if you take your mainline denominations, I think we're one of the best. And so that's what UMCOR is able to do. So UMCOR goes in and looks at a situation. They send professionals in to look at it, and then they make a phone call back and report back to the agency and say, okay, we need water, we need medical supplies, we need blankets, and then that's how they coordinate the effort to go in there. So as far as how many others, I'm sure there are others. Obviously, I'm not as familiar with them, but UMCOR is one of the greatest organizations to be very specific. There's not a lot of overhead because the overhead has to be budgeted in. But there's nobody in UMCOR who says, all right, if you can get $1 million donated, your salary's going up. That person doesn't exist in UMCOR because all of those salaries and things are set at the level, and then that goes on from there. So it's a very great organization. I love it. So.
And now, to go back to a previous question, you talked about when you went after Katrina. Mm-hmm. Did you ever have any other experiences with UMCOR?
And then churches I've served down through the years, pretty much every single natural disaster that has been, and unfortunately that's a lot, all of them I've gotten information from UMCOR about how to give to those. So my churches that I've served, and Wayne Street certainly is no exception, has given lots of money specifically to, various agencies or various efforts from UMCOR. So I've never actually been out in the field with them, other than that experience with Katrina. But I've had a number of missionaries and people overseas. In fact, I just had a secular man who had no Christian background I was talking to through Rotary, who told me that he was working overseas, and some of the first people he would run into on every disaster site was UMCOR. So, and he knew them backwards. In fact, he knew them better than I did because he had a lot more experience directly with the people in the field out there. So it's a great reputation, and it's a great way for us to be the church, is by addressing specific needs rather than just saying, here's a whole pile of money, good luck. There are people that are coordinating how that works. And see, not only does UMCOR go into hurricanes and earthquakes and that kind of, because they certainly do that, but they also will go into places and dig wells for clean water initiatives and a lot of that kind of stuff. So is that a disaster? Yes, but it's not a.
It's not.
Everything was fine this morning and everything fell apart today kind of disaster. Yeah. So they're not only addressing sudden disasters, but they're trying to bring relief. That's what they are. They're the Committee on Relief, and we certainly think that giving people clean water to wash and drink, I think that's a pretty good relief you can get there. And they're working on initiatives like that as well.
Which is so. The whole reason we planned this part, this episode of The Rage, is because we definitely need some some
something
good
positive.
news,
Yeah.
some positive news,
Yeah.
which is I think what I'm hearing is it's good to know that the church at large is doing these great acts.
Yeah, I mean, if you come to church on Sunday and drop $1 in the offering plate, a percentage of that dollar is going to end up in Haiti.
Yeah.
Every dollar you give to Wayne Street, because we pay our apportionments, is going to go help UMCOR somewhere. And then if we make an announcement, say, okay, we're giving special to UMCOR, and you give $10 to that one, $10 is going to end up in Haiti. So I just think that's. I mean, there are many organizations you could say that about.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel real good about UMCOR. And if you'd like to, and again, I know we're probably going to plug this at the end, but one of the things I was doing, getting ready for this episode, was I was looking at UMCOR's website. You can actually go to UMCOR right now. I mean, you can finish watching this episode, click over. In fact, I'll put a link in the description down below about how you can click over, go to UMCOR, and you can say, hey, I want to give to Haiti, and give directly from your computer. Now, I would prefer you go to your local church and let them do that, so that support comes from local church. But hey, every dollar is a dollar more for somebody to get help.
UMCOR.org, right?
Yeah. The link will be down in the description because it's a strange looking address.
And go and look at some of the.
Oh yeah.
They have a video. They have a YouTube. When you go to their page, you'll open it up and you'll see a YouTube video at the bottom.
Yeah.
And it explains a little bit more professionally, I guess, than what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's just. I think it's good because if you, I mean, you might not even attend Wayne Street, but if you attend a Methodist church, I think it's kind of cool to know that a fraction of what you give goes to help the people in Haiti, help the people from, Hurricane Ida and so forth, and all those things. It's
and any other disaster you see going on, UMCOR is one of the first on the ground of anyone, including the government sometimes, depending on what's going on, but. They are everywhere, and they are out there representing United Methodists like Parker and I, and it's an organization I'm certainly proud to support because everything from clean drinking water to shelter to food and all these different kinds of things, safety, all are being provided because of the work of UMCOR, and that's an extension of the United Methodist Church, which those of us who are part of it, that's what we're supporting.
Yeah.
So in this day and age where to search for good news.
Yeah.
We wanted to take a chance today to tell you about an organization that's doing the best it can to make the world a better place. And of all the things the United Methodist Church does, and look, go back and watch some of their past episodes. Some of the stuff I'm really proud of, and some of it I ain't. But UMCOR is one of the things I am truly, truly proud of, and of the good work it does, and the lives that it saves, and the lives that it improves, not just saves. In the midst of what it's doing.
And they send out newsletters and everything too. And I think that would be something for people of the congregation would be very beneficial to have.
Yeah.
Because you're a part of it.
Yeah.
It's United Methodist. If you claim to be.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I mean, we're not going to lie to you. Whatever money you give to the church, part of it goes to turn on the lights. It provides the internet connection we're using. Yeah, but that stuff's not exactly exciting. But to know that there's a little kid out there with a glass of clean water because you gave that's exciting. So we're just using this episode today to remind you that that's what we're a part of, and our great connection that we have with the United Methodist Church because of Jesus Christ gives us a chance to get put that clean water in the hand of a little kid. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome, and and sometimes I think that we forget, just how privileged we are to live here. Where I don't think about clean water ever. I go get it. I mean, when we're done, we'll walk across the hallway, grab a bottle of water. Yeah. That's how far I have to go, and that's not the case for some people. So, to know that there's an organization out there in my name and in Parker's name and possibly in your name, going out to do these good things, it's something certainly worth celebrating. So, yeah.
So we promised that we'd have a feel-good message for today's Rage, and I hope we delivered.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing left to say,
yeah, I think we're good. And support UMCOR. It's one of the greatest organizations out there.
Go check the website. Tim will put the link in the description. It's something to go look at.
Yeah.
Make you feel good.
Yeah, something to know more about. So, thanks for watching, everybody, and God bless UMCOR.